I'm Julie, and I am here with items for Santa's workshop. But first, I wanted you to know that this video is part of the DIY challenge put on by Heidi Sonboul. Her link and the playlist is in the description box down below. Hi everybody, in today's video we are going to make a sign for Santa's workshop. I'm going to be using these gray paints, this bristly brush, 3 of the canvases. I don't end up using the chain, but I do use the crocodile, those stickers, not those stickers, some Mod Podge, my glue gun, and I will end up using a few other things. So we're going to go ahead and start with the 3 canvases. I got those at Dollar Tree. I am going to start with the darkest color, and I go ahead and paint those on. And then my medium color wouldn't work, so I went ahead and went straight to the, you'll see the glittery silver. So we're going to paint them dark, all 3 of them. Then we'll paint them with the splatter brush and paint them with the silver. And we're going to let them dry, and we are ready to Mod Podge these stickers on. I got these last year, but I did see them at Walmart yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and Mod Podge these onto these canvases. They're just the little panel canvases. And I'm showing you the green truck because we actually have a green truck. So here we are putting on a coat of Mod Podge. Then we'll put the stickers down and put Mod Podge over it. And what you don't see is I have to keep going back and putting them down. It didn't want to stick, but I did get it to stick good enough. We're going to go ahead and let them dry. And for the next part of this sign, we are going to be using this large beware sign from Dollar Tree from Halloween. Taking the ribbon out, going to add spackle into the holes. And I did get that spackle at Dollar Tree. So just going to apply it with my fingers, push it in, and then wipe it off. And check to make sure that it went all the way through. And make sure you put the top on and that you hear it click. So going to go ahead and clear that off. Then we are going to again start with that dark paint, and I'm using the chippy brush, and I am just going to go ahead and cover that all with the darkest of the gray colors that I had. I did go and pick up some silver paint. So this is the silver paint here, and then I also added some of the glitter paint. Now I wanted to make like a seal for this, so I'm using 2 different sizes of paper plates and a red Sharpie pen, and then I'm going to write North Pole, and I'm just going to hand write it. But before I do that, I go ahead with the chippy brush and add some more silver because I don't want it, it's really bright on there. Even though it's kind of muted, it's still bright. So I want it to just barely show, but I wanted it to be like it was a seal. So there I am writing North Pole. And I found that if I did lines and then I wiped it with the paper towel, that it worked much better. So plus it was still probably a little wet. I was really impatient. So I'm measuring the sign to get my center, and I go ahead and use the old mark it with your thumbnail. And now I'm writing out the word Santa's Workshop to figure out where the center should be. And I'm bringing out the square. Don't tell Tom. I'm actually going to use the square, and I'm going to put the Mod Podge on, and I'm going to paint the Mod Podge right up to the edge of the square. And then I can use that edge to put down my stickers right along that edge. I couldn't see over. My head would have been right in the front of the camera if I just used the square to line them up. So I did this and it seemed to work really, really well. So I'm going to go ahead and put down all these stickers. I liked them. It made me think of a workshop with these stickers on my sort of galvanized board. Remember, I'm trying to use what I had. And so now we're going to Mod Podge down those stickers. This worked really well. So I decided to go ahead and do it on the other side too. So I put down some more Mod Podge because of course it had started to dry a little. And I started and I went backwards from the center. So I started with the S and I decided this time to go ahead and put down each piece and then add the Mod Podge. And then I had to go back because some of the workshop word was wrinkling, and so I went back and took care of that, and so I was back and forth, but I was really getting excited. I really like the way this is turning out. Where it's going, it's actually going to go in the garage, in the entryway to our house from the garage. And it's kind of dark right there, so that extra glittery added to the galvanized, it does look galvanized hanging up there. So I'm going to pull out that really cool vintage decal set from Dollar Tree, and I'm trying different things on there. I got several of those. I really like the holly on here, so I'm going to go ahead and put that. I'm just kind of moving it around, and I like the Nutcracker. I think he looks great sitting there on the side. Everything else was too big. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put him down on that side. And then I'm going to go get another one, another decal. And I'm going to put one on the other side too. And I love how that all looks. So to me it looks like it should be in a workshop. So now we have a Nutcracker on each side, like they're standing guard. I love it. And now I'm going to start picking out the letters for the rest of the sign. And since this sign is actually for our garage, and Tom bought this house and moved in 1984, I decided that I'm going to have it established 1984. And I just think it's coming along really, really cool. So then I move the words over and I put them down with the Mod Podge. I also add Lake LA, like the workshop is, it is located in Lake LA. For the next part of this project, I'm going to make nameplates for the employees of Santa's workshop. I'm taking these popsicle stick tongue depressor things and I've trimmed them down to be the same size as the canvas panels that we've decorated, and I'm just painting them red with crimson Waverly chalk paint from Walmart. And while I have the red paint out, I'm going to go ahead and paint these two wood pieces. I got these in grab bags at Michael's a long time ago. So I'm painting them with red. Again, the Waverly Crimson red chalk paint from Walmart. Now, green paint and red paint have the worst coverage. So this is one coat Then I'm going to come back and do a second coat. And then you'll see me do a third coat. Then you'll see me cover just the numbers. And yeah, so all that happening here. And we'll also give a second coat to our nameplates. And I did leave time for drying in between each. I just cut that out so that you didn't have to watch paint dry. So hooray! Now we are going to decoupage the letter stickers onto the nameplates. And I am going to decoupage Tom and Julie and Chip. Not necessarily in that order though. I am using stickers from the box or tote of stickers that were given to a friend of mine who gave them to me. And so again, I'm trying to use things that I already have. And so there we go. We're going to go ahead and Mod Podge these onto the nameplates. And there we go. We have our nameplates. And next I'm going to add some snowflake stickers on either side because they were on the sticker sheet. And I like to make sure I use everything. Okay, take a deep breath. We're going to be going really fast here. So I missed the part where I attached the nameplates to the panel cards with hot glue and the tongue depressor. I used the crocodile to cut holes and put the chain through that is going to hang these from the workshop sign. So the chain is from the garden section at Dollar Tree during the summer, and I'm loving the way this is turning out. So here I have, these are a placemat that fell apart, and it's got 2 holes going through each one. I'm writing down Top Dog Security, Master Toy Maker, and Shipping and Shopping on those little wooden pieces, and I'm going to attach them with wire to the chain, and then making a little hook on the top that then we'll be able to attach to the little pins that we put onto the workshop sign. And here you'll be able to see the little piece of tongue depressor that's been glued to the back, and it is attaching the nameplate to the panel there. So I'm measuring out, and this is, I'm measuring for where the little pins are going to go, and these little pins are going to hold our little signs. And I'm just using a large push pin to push into that board to give me the hole for my little black pins that are going to go in there. I got those at Dollar Tree. So close. So we just need to add a hanger to the top, and I'm going to go ahead and measure in from the sides and use the crocodile again to make my holes, and then just attach some more of that wire, this time with the hooks, and there you go, it's finished. I absolutely love this. I showed it to my husband when he got home, and I caught him looking at it several times during the evening. He really, really liked it, and I cannot wait to hang this up and see it when I walk in the door from the garage into the house. So I just want to take a second and thank Heidi for this opportunity. For our next DIY, I'm going to take this bunch of scrap wire, and I am going to make it bigger. I want a bigger mess. It's a little mess. I want it to be a bigger mess. So I am pulling it apart and molding it and shaping it. My original idea was to make a wreath. Remember, I'm making items for the garage, so I kind of want to use things that you would find in the garage, and so I'm just tangling it on purpose. And there I have my wreath. But wait, I have an idea. So I gathered some items that you might find in the garage, along with the words from Dollar Tree, joy, peace, and believe. And I'm going to go ahead and take the joy, and I'm going to use it in this project. So I have my Cutco scissors. I'm going to go ahead and use those to cut the Y off. And so we will have Joe Y. And I had these two springs, and I thought that I could spell the word jolly in the middle of my wreath. So I have some bead wire, and I'm going to go ahead and attach all those items with the bead wire. And yeah, the springs are flying, but this is working out really well. The Y was a little harder to attach. I'm going to attach it up in that crease, and then also attach it down a little bit so that it is in the wreath. Next, I'm going to go ahead and attach the springs, 2 springs, now they're L's, to spell the word jolly. Okay, do you see what I see? So I have this felt, it's on a roll, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out, you guessed it, a Santa hat. But I'm going to do it kind of differently. I'm going to go ahead and cut it just freehand, cutting out a triangle and getting a hat. But I wanted it to not just be your usual triangle. So I am going to glue it together kind of differently. So pay attention. And of course, I've also cut the little white piece. So now, interestingly enough, I have put this on the wrong side of the triangle. So I get a really interesting looking triangle. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the wreath over, and I am going to fold the two pieces of where the triangle would meet together, and I am going to add glue to the going up, and then I'm just going to fold it. And what this is going to do is it's going to kind of fluff the hat out, and I didn't even have to add any filling or anything to it. So I'm just going to carefully, because the glue is hot, go ahead and continue that all the way up to the top. So this video is part 1 of 2 of the items that I made for Santa's workshop. So I hope you'll subscribe so that you know when part 2 is here. After I've got it all glued together, I try it on and it fits perfect. Do you see the face? I don't know. When I was putting this together, all of a sudden I saw a face and decided it should turn from a wreath that says Jolly into a Santa face that says Jolly. Kind of reminded me of something that maybe one of the elves made for Santa. And so now it's hanging in the workshop. So I'm going to go ahead and fold the hat over, and I am going to glue it down. Then I'm going to glue the edge of the white piece and fold it up. And I'm being really careful because I've noticed that the glue showed through on a couple of the places, so I don't want the glue to show through, so I'm being really careful and adding that. And then we're going to check it out and go ahead and just glue it on. So I started out by adding glue to both sides in the back, and then I added glue down the edge. Went ahead and cut off the excess and kind of glued the two pieces together. The white piece from the front to the white piece in the back. So now I'm going to go ahead and, Santa usually has that little sprig of holly on his hat. Well, the elf apparently only had a screw and some wire and a couple of bolts, so he made the holly piece out of a screw with some green wire and just molded it into the shape of a holly leaf, and then added a couple of bolts and a washer and a piece from a clock. And there's the little holly piece. And I just absolutely love the way this turned out. Now, up against the white wall, you can tell that it says Jolly. Here on this background, it doesn't show up as well. But I absolutely love the way this turned out. So we're going to go ahead and make a little tassel here out of some fluffy yarn. We're just making a simple tassel, wrapped it around my fingers and cutting it, tied it and then cutting it. And we're going to add that up onto the hat. And that is how we're going to finish this little Santa Jolly wreath face thing. Oh wait, one more thing, it needs a hanger. So we're just going to add a piece of jute string for the hanger in the back, and we'll glue it down, and that will be that. And here it is, all ready to be hung up in the workshop. And here we are with DIY, I guess this be number 3. And again, we are still working on items, using items from the garage or things you'd find in the garage. And this time I found some nuts and bolts, and I've taken 2 bolts and attached them together with a single nut. And I have some springs. These are from little notebooks, and I just took the springs off and had saved them. And so what I'm going to do is take 2 of the nuts and bolts, and I'm going to attach them together with the spring, making hopefully the letter H. Yay, it's working. I have these large washers, and I'm going to add those as the O. So I need 3 of each of those for ho, ho, ho. And now I'm taking some swing set chain, and I made it so that it was the size that I wanted, and it ended up with 4 chains. And I am attaching the HO, the ho, 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 to the chain. And then I'm going to just add a little snippet of hot glue to each place that the spring attaches to the nut and bolt H. And I love how this is turning out. And my husband even took pictures. Made my day. And here it is, ready to get hung in the workshop and greet us when we come home every day. And here we have DIY number 4. And workshop would not be complete without some nutcrackers. So I have this little bag that I've collected some items for these guys to make them more appropriate for the workshop. First, I have this little hammer that's from C's Candy, and we are going to go ahead and glue it into his hand. So next, I was going to put a nut in his hand, but it didn't quite fit. So I'm going to go ahead and use some of that bead wire and attach it to his hand and then glue it onto his hand. And then looking at him, I thought, oh, he kind of looks like a trophy. So I wrote number 1 Nutcracker on that one. So now we're going to work on the second one. And we are going to go ahead and I cut off the bottom of his staff. And we're going to go ahead and glue the nut and bolt right into the top of the thing that he's holding. So this one is going to get kind of like a nut and bolt torch. This one also is getting a nut in its hand. And then we're going to write Assistant Nutcracker on this one. I was at a loss for words, but I love the way they turned out. A pair of Nutcracker Trophies to display in the workshop. I love it. And here they are, ready to go on display in the workshop. Here we are, DIY number 5. We're going to use some keys, these little chalkboard things from Dollar Tree, and one of these little slat boards from Walmart. We're going to go ahead and use the Crimson Waverly chalk paint and paint that board red. we're going to break off the sticks off the back of each of these little chalkboards. And I need 3 of them. And so we have those ready. We're going to grab some white paint and a paintbrush. So I got these paintbrushes at Dollar Tree. I love them. It's my first time using the little paintbrush. It is perfect for the type of line drawing I like to do letters or the perfect lettering. So what keys might be hanging in Santa's workshop? And so I thought, you probably have keys to the reindeer barn, and you'd probably have a key for the sleigh, although it might be more magical than needing a key. And I thought you might need a key for the list. So these keys are actually from drawings that come in the mail. So where they send a key and then you go in and you try the key and the person that has the right key wins the car. And I had saved these. My husband was actually quite tickled that I had saved these silly keys, and they ended up perfect for this. So I'm going to bring out the little black pins that I'm going to use as the hooks, and the little red pin that we'll use to make the holes. Next, I have some of these wooden tags that I picked up at Dollar General, and we're going to go ahead and paint these red. These need to be painted on both sides, as they might be seen from either side when they're hanging on the key rack. So we're going to go ahead and let those dry. Sorry about the reflection there. But next we're going to go ahead and measure and add our pinholes so that we'll have the hooks ready for the key rack. Then we're going to line up the labels for the key rack, and then we'll glue them down. We'll go ahead and measure so that we get just a little over 1/4 of an inch between each one and from each side. And now looking at this, this little key holder, you could make it for anything that might need 3 sets of keys. So using the items from the Dollar Tree and Walmart. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and add all 3 of the signs, and then we're going to come in and we'll measure, and we're going to put a pin just down underneath each one of the little labels. And I'm going to add a little glue to each one just for a little insurance that they'll stay in. And now that the tags have dried, we're going to go ahead and add the names to the tags. So we'll be making a sleigh, a barn, and a list tag. And now, just in case the keys were to get separated, I'm going to add the initials S, B, and L to each of the keys. noticing that my free-handed tags were a little one-sided, we're going to go ahead and add some black paint to the sides of the list and the barn tag. And then I'll add a little bit of a black edge to the sleigh tag. So it's all coming together, and now I just happen to have 3 gold rings that we're going to go ahead and add to the key and the tag. So each ring will get 1 key and a matching tag on it, and then they will fit right onto the pins that we have as hooks. And we're going to go ahead and turn it over, and oops, we missed the back of one of the tags. I'll catch that later. So we are going to make our holder now using jute string, our hot glue, and one of those tongue depressor popsicle stick things to hold it down and give it extra hold. And now we can hang our keys back on, and oh my gosh, I love how this turned out. I think I'm actually going to make one of these or 2 of them for my command center. But for now, these are ready to hang up in Santa's workshop. So once again, I want to thank Heidi Sonboul for this opportunity. And I want to thank you for coming and checking out my DIYs for Santa's workshop. In the description box below, I will have the link as well to my Christmas home tour. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to tell me which one was your favorite. I have new videos coming up. And Bye. once again, this was part 1 of Santa's workshop. Would love to see you again. Thank you all for being here. See you back here real soon. Happy holidays. Bye-bye.